what are you doing? What have you become? Like, you know this is wrong. And I just broke down. Obviously, they cut my skull open. They took the skull out and they had to hoover the blood clot out, put the skull back, staple it back up. 14 hours later.
Fuck.
Just looking absolutely mangled with half my head shaved. Like, what's happened? And I wasn't making any effort to step back and be like, have a look at the last few years, what you've gone through, what you've had to deal with. Maybe just calm down a bit.
Yeah, I survived. Yeah. Obviously, I'm meant to sesh. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Menace to Sobriety. Whether you're listening or watching, this is an opportunity for us to have a little bit of escapism from our lives, listen to some interesting stories, maybe learn something along the way about what's going on in our heads, in our lives. This episode is, I'm trying to sort of steer the podcast towards everyday people, man, maybe sort of edge it away from this sort of celebrity influencer style podcast. Although, it is interesting to get those people on. It's good for views and likes and clicks and everything like that. But I'm finding more and more that I'm getting so much more from people that I can relate to, people just like me, people that are going through their own struggles and that are openly talking about it. And I think it's that stuff that's inspiring at the moment. It's certainly inspiring me. And I'm all about reshaping this vulnerability that us men try and hide, reshaping that into strength, So this gentleman reached out to me in my DMs, which anyone can do on the Menace to Sobriety Instagram if you think you've got an interesting story or a valid conversation that can help people. And this gentleman reached out to me, and here we are. We're in the studio talking. So let's get to know him. Welcome to the podcast, John James.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good, man. So we, on the way here, we bumped into each other on the train, didn't we? You come over and you went, "All right, Dan," and I was like, "All right, mate. Yeah, what's going on?" You're like, "I'm John." I was like, "All right, John. Like, what do you want?" And he was like, "I'm on the podcast." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sorry."
Good start.
I was sorry. I was on another planet, but we had quite an interesting conversation walking up.
Yeah.
Quite funnily, I was like, just on the way, I've just got to stop quickly to get a Greg's coffee and a sausage roll. And I kind of confessed to you, I was like, this is actually one of my addictions that I've been really working on, because I went through a long phase of every morning dropping the kids off from school, I'm going off on one now, but getting a sausage roll and a caramel latte. I cut down on the Costas and went on to Greg's. So I'm doing like a caramel latte and a sausage roll. And I was talking to you about it. I think it's quite interesting because I was saying I noticed the pattern and then I stopped it. And now it's like a treat for me. If I've been boxing, if I've worked out or whatever, I'm cutting down to like maybe 1 or 2 sausage rolls a week. And you said you had a similar thing with energy drinks.
Yeah, well, I'm actively trying to cut them out because like every single day before going to work, you'd be like, right, stop at the shop, get a drink so I can have it on the train. Yeah, I've actively got to try and be like, nah.
These little addictions. I mean, that's not what this is about today. Sausage rolls and
Red Bull.
Red Bull. Although Red Bull, like that is a big problem for a lot of people. I said to you, someone at my show come up, a good pal of mine, Ben, come up to me at the show and said, that I'd helped him get off, noticing his behaviour around energy drinks. And then you said that you had a wall chart, and you were marking off the days that you hadn't had Red Bull. Yeah. And you were really getting into that. And I was like, so now you're addicted to wall charts.
Yeah. But replace one for the other.
Yeah, that's it. But no, interesting conversation. And I enjoyed it because I was like, this is us, man. This is like, is it us, or are we just super conscious of it now because of what we've been through?
It's that self-awareness, isn't it?
Self-awareness.
Yeah.
But all right, so listen, you pinged me a DM, and a couple of things really stood out for me. First of all was the article that I read where Specsavers saved your life.
Yeah.
Sorted out your glasses and you dodged a cart. No. Sorry. No, but no, Specsavers saved your life. Where they found a brain tumor. Yeah. So we'll get into that.
Yeah.
And then also, addiction and not wanting to be here anymore and those struggles. We're going to get into all that. We're going to have a really good chat. I'm really looking forward to actually getting to know you. The couple of minutes that we've had at the beginning have been entertaining. So start off by telling us where you're from, who you are, and then your journey into alcohol, drugs, what that turned into. Just talk.
John, 35. I'm from Kent. I grew up in a lovely little place called Sittingbourne. Now I live in Medway with my other half. Growing up, it was sort of just me and my mum. My biological father sort of left when I was about 2.
Okay.
I'll sort of go back into that sort of a little bit further down my story because it's quite a big part of where I am today. So it was just me and my mum really. Growing up, I grew up on a council estate, and my mum used to work in a local pub just to get some money because I wasn't getting any money from my real dad or anything, so we had to try and make ends meet. So I was always in the pub with her when she was cleaning or sort of serving pints, that sort of thing. Actually, I thought this the other day. I actually learnt to read in a pub by spelling off beer mats. I think the first word I ever spelt was Beamish. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so, the pub was sort of quite a big part of...
You were cursed, weren't you?
Yeah, it's my origin story.
Yeah.
The King's Head.
Yeah.
So, just me and my mum till about the age of 8, where she met my stepdad. Massive role model in my life. Great man. Obviously met him in the pub. They had my little brother Henry learnt to walk in a pub. So obviously the pub was growing up I just saw this is what sort of people done. You know what I mean? They finish work, they go to the pub. This is how you had a good time. So I think sort of whether it was subconsciously sort of growing up, I just couldn't wait to reach that level. I'm like, I can't wait to have a beer. Do you know what I mean? Can't wait to, because this is how people have fun. This is what we do. Obviously now I know it's not like that at all. Certain people can't. You get people that can just have a couple of beers and just call it a night. But unfortunately, I struggle with the off switch. So but that was me growing up, mate. Really. I had, like I said, my brother, and then when it started to become an issue, when we started sort of going out drinking house parties, that sort of thing at 14, 15. Don't get me wrong, I had some good times. Like I had a lot of fun with my mates, but I think there were sort of early warning signs that it didn't really mix well with
like
me.
What? What do you mean?
Just drinking till I got sick. Things like that, really. Just going overboard, just drinking too quickly. Things like that, really, mate.
Can you remember when you had your first pint? Was it with your mum in the pub? Was it in the pub?
Well, I've definitely drunk before then, but I know on my 16th birthday, I think that's because at that age you can have a beer with your dinner. So I was like, we'll go for a curry in the pub, and I'll get you your first pint. So and that moment I was like, I made it. This is it. I mean, I think because I'd never really sort of went out. I know a lot of my pals used to go down the park and get drunk, like drinking White Lightning, things like that. But I think my mum tried to, and my dad tried to control it a little bit. They said, look, if you're going to drink, we'd rather you done it indoors, so that we could keep an eye on you. Like, so if you want a couple of cans, like in the evening, like of a weekend, then we'd rather you did that. But
do you know what? Like, sorry to interrupt you. My mum was the same. My mum was the same. But I did both, obviously. Me and my mates were out on the smash and everything. But don't you think that's weird? Would you do that with your kids now?
I can't. I don't know if I can answer that question.
Yeah, that's what I just. Yeah. The reason why I asked you is because I'm sitting here as a dad going, what am I going to do when they're like 14, 15, 16? I mean, is the generation below us? Are the kids coming up? Are they the same as us? Do they idolise drink as much?
It's funny you say this because I had a conversation with my eldest, who's 14. The other day, he was like, Dad, I'm not going to drink, because obviously he's seen me in the past 3 years. He's like, I don't want to drink. I think he's tried like a fruit cider or something. He's like, I don't like the taste of it. And I was like, look, mate, if you was anything like me, you'll be in certain situations when you're out with your mates, because he loves being out with his mates, when someone's going to have like a drink or something. It's like, it's okay. Like, don't feel like, I don't know if I should be doing this. I was like, as long as you know that if you're unsure of anything, just ring me. Like, yeah, you know, you're going to be in those situations. So don't say, I'm not going to do it. Like, fair play if you want to do that.
There's no pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to live and learn. But
Yeah.
my daughter Neve, she's 9 and she's just starting to. Oh, my daddy doesn't drink. You know, I've heard her say it, like I'm on the school run and stuff like that to like other people, and I'm like, shut up, man. You know, like the other dads would be like, "What are you doing this weekend? You're watching the football cup." My daddy doesn't drink anymore. He's not allowed. I'm like, it's not that I'm not allowed. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm like, you know, when you get older, are you gonna drink? Yeah. I'm going to drink with my friends, but I'm probably not going to get drunk, but I'm going to drink with my friends, yeah? I probably will have a few. So it is such a weird one. You don't want to be too much, do you?
Yeah, I'll take the pressure off. Like, and it's just like, mate, like, whatever, I've said this before as well, like, whatever situation you get in and you think, I can't ring my dad. Like, trust me, mate, I've done a lot worse. Yeah. Whatever it is, I've done a lot worse. So just ring me, know that I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? So...
So carry on. So you're saying that, there was a few early warning signs, and talk me through it. Was drugs ever a part of your...
Do you know what? That wasn't a massive issue until I left home and went to university. Obviously, we used to, like, there used to be a bit of puff going around, do you know what I mean? We used to have a joint and stuff, but it wasn't, I didn't really like that sort of feeling. I just used to be like, what's going on here? Because as I found out, I preferred stimulants, so as you can tell with a Red Bull. It wasn't. It was more sort of boozing, sort of in my sort of late teens and that, and then moving into university. It was at that stage when you're like, I was at the end of sixth form, so year 12, year 13, and it was all about you're old enough to go out now. You know, you can go clubbing with your mates, so. You know, you're going down the pub, you're going drinking. That was what it was about. Yeah. And I sort of lent into that because that was having fun. Do you know what I mean? That's what it was all about. And just before, obviously, I went to university in London. I'd done my A-levels and then got a place at university. I actually got in contact with my real dad via Facebook.
Wow.
And I found him through, because I've got half brothers and sisters that I know about. And I had an older half brother, and I found him. And then I sort of reached out to him, and then I found my sort of real dad through him, and I messaged him. And it wasn't anything like where have you been, what have you been doing sort of thing. It was just like, just wanted to chat with my real dad, you know what I mean? Like, just about the football, and he sort of come back, like, chatted about the football, and then it was just it was all about him. It wasn't, how are you doing, son? Like, you know what I mean? And it sort of took me back a bit, and then I reached out again, I just heard nothing. It was just radio silence, and I was like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean it was about him? He was saying, look, I've got this on, and I'm going through this.
And obviously your brother's got lots on. This is why he hasn't responded to you, and it's a little bit, I can't really like remember the full conversation that it was. I mean, I haven't been on Facebook for years, so I couldn't get the message out or anything.
But ultimately, you felt rejected.
Ultimately, it was basically him turning around, going, "Yeah, thanks for that. See you later." Again, do you know what I mean?
Tough. That's tough. Have you ever spoken to him since?
No, I haven't. I know I shouldn't sort of delve, but obviously I use Instagram, and I found sort of my half brother through that, and it's not a private account, so I can see that he's like Father's Day and stuff. It's him and my dad, and they're at the football together, and I'm like, fucking like, I shouldn't feel like that because my stepdad has stepped up, and he is my dad. That's I've always known that. But there's still that.
There's a question, isn't there? Why?
Yeah. Why? Yeah, that's. You know, I'll never know, and I know my mum tried to protect me from that. I know when I was sort of growing up as a kid, I used to go at my stepdad, "You're not my real dad," and that. He'd be like, "All right, get in a car, we'll go and find him." And I used to be like, "What?" He'd be like, "No, I'll be able to find him. I'll be able to find out where he is. We'll get in the car and we'll go and find him because he's in Manchester." and then I'll be like, oh no, you're all right, sort of thing, because I know he'd do it. He'd be able to find him. And my mum and dad tried to protect me from that, but I think it was an eventuality. I had to find out somehow of exactly how he was. Do you know what I mean?
You want to know the measure of the man, do you? And if he's interested. And my little brother, his father done the same thing. He left my mum, left him when he was a teenager, and my little brother asked me recently, like, should I try and find him and reach out to him? And I was like, that's up to you.
Yeah.
I was like, this is up to you, but I didn't really know what to say. Well, actually, I just said personally, I wouldn't, and fuck him.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not my place to say to my brother. But I did say, I said, fuck him. He don't deserve you. But if you want to, you can. And I think he has. It must be so difficult. But how do you, like? Because I know that affected my brother in ways that he doesn't show. He kind of.
You can see it.
I can see that it, obviously, but he's bottled it up. My father passed away, so I'll try and make a joke of it. Like, neither of us have got dads. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll try and banter him with it. But he's definitely affected by it. But he's never had. He doesn't drink and he don't take drugs or nothing like that.
Yeah.
How did that affect you? And do you think that definitely did affect you back then? I mean, how old was you then? 18? Did you say?
I was 17, 18.
Oh, that's young to feel that rejection again.
I didn't. Because I always think back about it. Me and my mates used to joke about it. It's traumatizing, really, because the last time I saw him, because every time I saw him, he'd be at the pub, he'd be like, "Oh, I've got that police helicopter for you. I'll just go out, get it out the car." And he always, "Oh, I forgot it this time." And the last time I saw him,
your dad?
Yeah, my real dad. I was like, right, okay. The last time I saw him, he went, "Oh, I'll get that police helicopter for you now. I'm just gonna go to the car and get it." He went out to the car. Well, I never saw him again. That was
Are
it.
you joking? Is that for real?
Yeah. So my mates are like, "Have you found that police helicopter yet?" Still looking, boys.
Oh, fucking hell.
Still waiting for it.
That's so bad. And when you see police helicopters, you're like,
Dad.
oh, man. No, look, listen, I'm glad that we can joke about it, but it's so dark.
Yeah. When you
What
think
the
about
fuck
it,
was wrong with him, man?
I don't know. I think from what I've heard, like, I think he was adopted. I think he had his own demons.
Yeah.
And I think he had a lot of issues. And obviously that sort of thing, when you behave like that, you're passing it on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously with what I know now and what I've learned, it's these things happen, especially sort of in the 90s, you know what I mean? Because people didn't talk about their feelings.
I think that really says a lot about you, mate. If you can even, well, one, laugh and joke about it, but two, to even try and look from that perspective, I think is a very strong part of your healing process. It must be.
Yeah.
But to essentially be saying, maybe he's just incapable of that connection.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or it's or because that connection wasn't made early.
He hasn't had that. So why is he going to replicate that?
Or try.
Yeah.
Or try. Like the I can kind of understand how, if you've got kids and you have that, and then the scary thought of, oh, I've got to build this again. Like, no, I'm going to get the helicopter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I think that says a lot about how far you are within your emotional journey now. Yeah. But how did it affect you back then?
I didn't, obviously, with everything that I've learned and know now, like, it massively affected me, and I just I took myself away and just went, it is what it is. Like, drink helps because I don't have to think about it. But even when I think back at the sessions I was on when I was at uni, and I used to be like, oh, fuck my dad. Like, just out of nowhere. Like, so it was always there. Do you know what I mean?
You'd say it in the sessions.
Yeah. And I was obviously trying to process that. But just getting on it all the time, because it used to help because I didn't have to think about it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. But yeah. It was tough.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then, how did that escalate? Did you hit any rock bottoms on your journey towards, because I know things got really, really dark for you. How did it? And when did that come into it with your head and everything?
I mean, that was after I got back from university. But I mean, I've had multiple rock bottoms. My first one, when I knew I was in serious trouble, was at university. When I got obviously we're just going out drinking. Everyone drinks. You got Freshers Week.
Yeah.
And to be fair, obviously back in those days, they had legal highs was quite a big thing.
Their stuff was fucked up though. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
It was bad.
But you could order it online, and you could get like loads of it delivered direct to you the next day.
And what was it like MCAT?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
A bit like that.
Yeah. And I'd never experienced anything like that before. When I first started, it was just drink, but obviously everyone was doing it. Like literally, at that time, it was the thing to do.
And what did it make you feel like? Can you remember? What was it like? Just were they fucking uppers basically?
Yeah.
Or...
The best way to sort of explain it is probably like a cocaine high mixed with like an ecstasy high at the same time. And for someone that's never felt that before, I was like, wow. Like, do you know what I mean? And you just sit up, you can't sleep, so you're sitting there just talking shit with your mates for fucking like 12 hours, do you know what I mean? Just making connections with people, and I don't know, it was sort of like a comfort blanket to me. I just loved it, and I just struggled to stop. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, sometimes I just know where to get it, and I'll go out in the middle of the night and just sit there, and then I start doing it on my own.
What do you mean? What you'd go to someone that's got it?
Yeah. Just buy some, just sit in my own room, because everyone else, if no one else was getting on it, I'd just sit there and do it. And
that's a big warning sign.
Yeah. And it got to a point where I'd run out of money, and I think I'd been on a session. Obviously, I was that guy that was just nicking it off mates. So I couldn't sort out one. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean? You were stealing it?
No, I wasn't stealing it. I was just, can I have a bit? Can I have a bit? Just, the classic.
Yeah.
And someone snapped at me. It's like, no, you're not having any more. You've been all night. You haven't put anything in. And I was like, sort of taken aback. Like, fucking hell. Like,
shit.
Whoa, what's going on here? And then I sort of left and went back to and it fucking hit me. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what have you become? Like, this is wrong. Like, and I just broke down, and I got on the phone to my mum. I was like, look, I can't explain what's happened, but I need you to transfer me some money. I need to get on a train. I need to come home like now. And she was like, not a problem. I've transferred the money. I'll see you when you get home. And I remember that train journey home, mate. I was just full of shame. It was a come down. I didn't know what come downs were, but after you've been up for 3 days, and all you've been doing is that drinking and not eating, it hits you tenfold. And that train journey home, I was full of shame, regret. Like, I'd let everyone down. I just looked at the floor, and I was just in tears all the way home on a train. Like, people would just look. I could see people were looking like, what's up with him? Do you know what I mean? But I was like, I fucked it. I've proper fucked it. I got home, and it was like I sort of broke down, sort of explained to my mum what happened. It wasn't really talked about properly. I recovered because I started eating properly, and I was like, do you know what? I've had that blip. I'm going to go back for the last bit of uni. I'm going to go back with my pals, and I'm going to do so much better. I'm not going to waste this opportunity that I've got to go uni and get a degree. And I went back, and I was still sort of involved in it, not to the extent that I was before. But obviously you're still in that culture, you're still in that lifestyle, still my own. I still didn't have that self-control. I got through to the end of the year, went home, and I was like, do I go back or do I just start again? Because I don't think it's very healthy for me in the mind, the place that I am mentally, being in this sort of environment. And I'm gutted, really. Well, a lot of the people that I met there, I'm still friends with today, and I'm really close with some of them. But I just thought, for my own sanity, I don't think university's for me. I'm going to have to step away from this and try something else. That was my sort of stint at uni. When I first became aware that I had issues with my mental health.
That's a tough one, man. Like, I don't think I certainly would not have had the foresight to step back from that. I was fucking stupid like that. So I think that I really commend you, man, that you seem to have quite a sophisticated type of emotional intelligence. Like you have it in, like you're battling this thing.
Yeah.
But you had self-awareness even then.
Yeah.
I truly lacked that for my whole life until recently. But I just wanted to step back a little bit. You know that night where the guy snapped at you?
Yeah, yeah.
It's such a core memory. It's such a deep core memory that probably fucking chiseled your self-esteem for life.
Oh, mate, it wrote me off.
Can you remember it vividly in your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can remember all the people. Was there many people there?
Yeah, yeah, there was a few people
Was
there.
it like in a kitchen or something?
Yeah.
Did he say it loud and everyone saw?
Yeah.
And did you like straight away leave?
Yeah, I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I probably, it done me a favour really, because I like that, when that was said, I was like, fuck.
I'm being a twat. I'm
being a twat.
Like I'm begging for drugs, man.
Yeah.
And how was it with that guy moving forward?
All right, to be fair. Yeah, it was all right. Because I think it's just sessions are weird, man. Like people just they just get weird, don't they? So it was like it happened, and it just it's.
But what I'm trying to get at is, you know, when you got back and you got your head round that, was everyone like, yes? Was it spoken about? Like, do you remember when you was like that?
That's when I left. I literally left after that, and then I came back. And
but what I mean is, when you went back to uni, did people bring it up and go, "Do you remember when you was begging?"
No, it wasn't said.
So it wasn't. So it was big in your mind, but it weren't big in theirs. Yeah. It was one of them ones. Yeah. I mean, the only reason why I sort of hone in on that is because I'm really interested in how these moments shape us, right?
Yeah.
And especially when you're a kid growing up, like I can remember someone fucking, I mean, this is quite dark, poured a bottle of piss over me, right?
No.
Yeah.
Mate.
He pissed in a bottle.
Yeah.
And we were all out, all lads, all our mates together, and everyone was giving it large ones, and I thought I was quite a boy. And he'd poured it over me and everyone laughed.
Yeah.
And I can remember like leaving and going home, and I can remember, like, that's why I can just relate to it, because I can remember thinking, fucking imagine that he done that, what they must think of me to even do that. And now that he's done that, what everyone thinks. And I can remember I was never quite the same after that.
Yeah.
I was always like, before that, I felt kind of accepted, or that I was part of it.
Yeah.
And then I went back to it like you did, but I was kind of a bit of an outsider, like not sure if I belonged.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I saw that stuff happen to other people, but when it happened to me, it kind of shifted my whole perspective on so many other things. Like also, who are these people doing this to other people? And then it happened to me. Now, it was this weird thing. But I tried to shoehorn myself back into that friendship group, which I guess you went back to uni and you got back into it. But I never felt quite.
Yeah, well, I think it opens my eyes, because there's some people that are able to do like gear and stuff, and they're okay. And I'm not the same. Yeah. I'm definitely not the same, because, you know, I was just like, well, I'm not, this situation isn't a bit of me. Yeah. But again, I was trying to find out who I was. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that I didn't fit into certain groups, but I was just like, I've got all this stuff going on, and I'm just trying to do the right thing and be with the right people, you know. You know, I grew up thinking that, you know, I was all about beer, and I'm a beer monster. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, that's how I've grown up, just sitting, like, being in pubs and stuff. But it wasn't. And it's taken me this long in my life, to the age of, 30, 35, to know who I am. Do you know what I mean? But it's obviously taken that long, and those experiences.
Oh, man. Yeah. And it's those core memories that really sort of shift you and move you, and you're like, what am I doing? Who am I?
Yeah.
You know, and you're right. I'm the same. We're about the same, aren't we? I'm over 3.5, I think, years sober. You're about 3 years sober. We were talking about it on the way up here, that you don't get triggered too much. And I was like, it's weird. When does it stop? When does those habits stop? But I was doing a video just before we'd done the podcast as well, where I was responding to someone, where I was saying that, you know, they were saying, if you keep busy, does it help? And I was saying, well, actually, yeah, keeping busy does help you stay sober, but you can't rely on that.
Yeah, what happens when you're not busy?
What happens when you're not busy? And also, like you're saying, you're trying to find out who you are. That's a massive thing for us men. I always say, I think it's identity crisis that we're suffering. And that was a big punch to the face for you where you're like, it's like, fucking hell, who have I become here?
Yeah.
I've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I've got to get out of here quick. So, so yeah, that was a big one. Talk me through because also sorry to keep backtracking, but so also what you said is you realised that you were different the way that you were using to them. But there is another weird aspect to that is there are some people that are the same that we sort of gravitate towards. Because I had mates of mine that I was like, right, we're in it together.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you got any mates that were in that situation in uni with you that went on to be a bit of a mess as well? Or
from people that I've talked to, yeah, I think there have been a couple, but yeah, obviously, but I stepped away from it for a little bit. I thought I would, obviously, from stepping away from all that, I thought, you know, it's more of a London thing. But obviously, coming back home and moving back home, I had that taste for it now. And then, obviously, Sittingbourne was a small place, so I knew people and I knew how to get stuff. Do you know what I mean? So, just followed me back home, really.
Did it move on from the legal highs?
Yeah. Just obviously nothing sort of. I mean, all drugs are bad, you know what I mean? But sort of like
onto the sniff.
Yeah. MD things like that. Yeah, obviously. But I was just a mess, mate. To be honest, I just felt like I've just fucked it all. Like I just felt like I let down. I worked so hard in school to get because it was more like a fuck you to my dad. But like, do you know what? I never needed you anyway because I've gone to secondary school. I've got into uni. I'm going to make something of myself. And then that moment before I went to uni just turned it upside down and I'm like, I'm losing grip of stuff here. My life's going to chaos. The only thing that makes me feel normal is if I get pissed or I'm getting on it with my mates and just having a laugh. Do you know what I mean? And it was, mate, I don't know if it was sort of panicking, but it was difficult to work out in my head about where my life was going because I needed to, you know, I just got a job for the sake of getting a job. Because I had to sort of pay my way at home. It was in a supermarket. That's where I met my eldest's mum. But even then, like I was still like I hated it. I was just doing it for the money, and I was going out, and you know I was doing things like phoning in sick. But they were like, John, we could see you was out last night. Like, what you going on about? And I was just sitting in someone's front room, like, oh, they know, like, just getting like proper. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, and it was just chaos, mate. And my mental health was just being ground down with the amount of drink and drugs that I was taking. Wasn't getting on with my eldest mum, or you know, and I was like, what's my life? Like, do you know, what's going on? Like, all these things are happening and I'm in these situations and I'm just, I didn't know what was going on, mate, to be fair. And I was, my mum and dad, they tried really hard because they could see I was just in like a shell of me as a kid. I was drinking all the time. Just if I run out of beer, I'd try and nick my dad's beer out the fridge, or, you know, they had to take sort of booze out the house because I'd just, anything I could get hold of, it was more to stop feeling the way that I was feeling, mate, because I didn't know how to handle all these negative emotions. And the more you drink, the bigger the hangover, the worse you feel about yourself, the shame, the guilt, the remorse. It just got worse and worse. And it's like depression, mate. It's like a black cloud that comes over you. And obviously, I mentioned to you earlier, a couple of occasions I did try and take my own life. And luckily I didn't. We were having a chat about it today, but it can get on top of you like that. But you know, my mum and dad were trying to get help, but no one really wanted to help me. They were just like, well, he's got to stop drinking. That's the first thing. And I was like, what are you on about? Like, I drink because it stops me feeling like this. I'm sad. It makes me feel like I'm on a level, like I can cope with life as it is right now. And they were like, well, we can't give you counselling. You've got to stop taking stuff and then you can work on everything else, which now I know that's how it works. Like if I'd stopped drinking, but I couldn't cope with that feeling without drinking that, mate. It was bad.
Oh, I feel so bad listening to you, mate, because it's a heavy cycle that many people watching and listening will be going through right now. What did you hit the nail on the head, man. You're drinking, it makes you feel worse, so you got to drink more sooner. makes you feel worse, and then suddenly the only thing that is that tiny little moment in between where you're just pissed that you feel all right.
Yeah.
I'm pissed now.
Yeah.
There's a little spark back here. I feel a little bit silly, and there's a little bit of light.
Yeah.
And then, fuck, this is going to end soon.
Right. So, mate, I used to just have a beer just so that I could do things like just tidying, because I didn't want to, when I wasn't like pissed or anything, I just didn't want to do anything. It was that bad that I was like, I need to tidy to make myself feel better, but I'm only going to be able to do that once I've had a drink. Do you know what I mean? So it was getting bad, and it was creeping up on me, because it was like every day I was like, I need a drink. Like, I get to 12 o'clock, I need a drink, or just get home from work so I can have a drink. Do you know what I mean? It was literally, it was getting that sort of that bad. But yeah, obviously in regards to the mental health thing, I eventually got to see a doctor, and he prescribed me with sort of antidepressants, which helped a little bit. I sort of took a step back from the drinking. I wasn't drinking as much. Sort of from that, where I wasn't drinking as much, I had sort of mates that I knew that was trying to sort of push me in the right direction. Like, I had pals there, and one of my mates, he sort of tried to get me to go to the gym and sort of exercise a little bit more. And do you know what? I was like, this is helping. I feel good after I've done an exercise. And he took me to he's massively into like his Muay Thai, and he took me to like a MMA gym. And obviously, this is where it comes onto sort of the head injury. We was just sort of light sparring. I think it's the second, because I only went twice. Can't take a punch. And the second time he caught me, and I was like, fucking hell, that hurt more than it should have done. Like my head was banging. I was like, fucking hell, I feel like I'm going to be sick.
Or was it a kick?
No, it was we were just sparring with like boxing gloves, and it just caught me on the head, and I was like, that hurt like more than it did previous times. You know what I mean? I was like, what's going on here? And I was like, I'm going to have to sit out this MMA session, mate. I don't feel good. And my head was ringing for days. And I took, my mum took me to like the hospital, and they said it's just concussion.
What do you mean ringing? Was it hurting?
Yeah. It was like a ringing in my ears, and it was like a headache.
Oh, wow.
Type. And
okay.
I was just like, I woke up the next day, I was like, still there. Took me to the hospital. They were like, it's probably concussion. It'll be all right in a few days. And it subsided a little bit. And I started having like, I was just sort of cracking on with stuff in life. I was like, right, I'm feeling good now. I feel like I'm starting to find my feet a little bit. I don't feel as bad. Like I was still drinking, but not to the extent I was before, when I was sort of in the depths of it. I had I was getting like severe headaches. Now, I've always suffered with migraines like as a teenager, and normally it's just like, right, I've got a migraine, I'm going to have to just shut the curtains, go to sleep for half an hour, I'll be okay. But it was the same sort of pain on the left side of my head, but it was like I couldn't feel the left side of my body was just sort of like, I was like, fucking hell, am I going to pass out here? Like, this is mad. And sometimes I'd throw up, other times I wouldn't. Normally sleep would stop it. Went to the doctors, and he was like, oh, it's probably just migraines. I'll give you some strong migraine tablets. And kept taking these tablets. And then my nan, God bless her, she was like, do you know what? She was like, maybe you need to get your eyes tested. I'm going to pay for you to get an eye test. And I was like, right, okay. So I went to Specsavers, and I think they do like a camera shot where they can see behind the eye. And they done that, and they said, look, we can see like there's some dark behind your eye. We don't know what it is. We're going to send you to the eye hospital for a second opinion. I was like, yeah, cool, no worries. Went to the eye hospital, when they done like a CT scan. And mate, then it just went off, mate. I didn't know what was going on. I was having blood tests. They were struggling to get blood out of me. I don't know if that was to do with what was going on in my head. They transferred me up to King's College Hospital in London that night. And the guys that transferred me up there were like, just good luck, mate. And I was like, what's going on?
Had they not said anything to you?
They didn't tell me. They didn't say what was going on. I had no idea.
Was your mum and that with you?
No, I was on my own. I said, don't worry about it. Like, they're just going to do tests and that, I think. And I was like, Mum, just to let you know, I'm going up to King's College Hospital in London. She was like, oh, I'll be there. I'll come up. I'll be there. I was like, you don't have to. Like, they're just doing tests and that, I think. But obviously, the guys in the ambulance were like, good luck, mate. Like, I was like,
fuck's
sake.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
We hope we see you again.
And yeah, so obviously, I was at that stage of my life where I was like, you can't show weakness, mate. You've just got to man it up. Do you know what I mean? And I was there. They're like, okay, we're just gonna do a few tests. And the nurse was like, okay, we're gonna take you down for an operation. I was like, an operation? What are you gonna do? They were like, yeah, we're gonna just drill 2 holes in your head. And I was like, hey,
what the fuck?
Yeah,
man?
yeah.
They hadn't sat you down and gone through all of this.
I didn't know what was happening. I didn't, but they said, look, we've done the scans and it looks like there's a build up of pressure on your brain, and we need to sort of drill these holes to release the pressure. And I was like, right, okay, is it quite a quick procedure? Or she was like, yeah, it should only be about 90 minutes. I saw my mum.
Did they downplay it a little bit then?
It felt like it. It felt like it. I felt, mate, I'm glad they did, because I would have been shitting myself if I knew what was about to happen.
Wow.
They took me down to fit, and my mum just made it. She's like, I just see her head poke around the door, like, oh, I love you. I was like, I'll see you in about 90 minutes. She's like, yeah. And then, put me under, and I woke up 14 hours later. And I'll always remember this, and I've always got to say it, because I'm a big Man City fan. And I woke up, and I could see my dad at the end of the bed. He was moving my toes. I was like, what's happened? I was like, I looked at the clock. I was like, fucking hell, I better be out of here by Saturday, because Man City are in the cup final. and then I just passed out again. And then I woke up in ICU.
Fucking hell.
And I was like, what's happened? Because I had obviously I had a catheter, and I had like a drip like coming from the back of my head. I had half my head shaved, and I had 43 staples in my head. And I was just like,
fuck.
I was like, what's happened? That was some night out. Do you know what I mean?
Fucking hell.
And obviously they done what they said they was going to do, but by doing that, it set off a massive. Obviously, when they scanned my head again, it set off a bleed, like a massive bleed on the brain, and they couldn't. It was getting to the stage where, like, if they didn't operate now, mate, I would have just had a seizure, and that would have been it. Brown bread.
So they drilled the holes. And that set off a bleed.
Yeah. And so they cut. What they had to do to be able to do it in time was, obviously, they cut my skull open. They took the skull out.
Fuck.
And they had to hoover the blood clot out, put the skull back, staple it back up. 14 hours later.
Fuck.
Just looking absolutely mangled with half my head shaved. Like, what's happened? Like,
with the
you know what I mean?
staples. Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, and obviously I was like, went to my dad, why was you moving my toes? He was like, because it was you probably have to, with that sort of head injury, you'd probably have to learn to like walk and talk again, because it was that serious. But mate, touch wood, I've had to have a little bit of rehab, and I still suffer with certain things today, like with fatigue. But they're things that I've learned to control.
Yeah.
And I try not to let it define me too much. I try and do what I can. But yeah, that was an interesting.
That's crazy. But I'm so interested in how the fuck does Specsavers see inside your head?
That's mad, isn't it?
How do they see it?
Literally, I think they just take a photo of your eye, and because they could see something sort of abnormal in that what's not meant to be there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they was like, well, I need a second opinion because I'm not sure what that is. And like, obviously, my dad, he went down to that optician and said, thank you, because if it wasn't for them, mate, they said, because I was just walking around, just carrying on, that bleed was slowly getting bigger and bigger, and that's where the headaches were happening. I think he said it was like, whether it was a month or a few weeks, if I just carried on, one day I would have just had a seizure, and that blood clot would have wiped me out, and they wouldn't have been able to save me. So
Wow.
Yeah.
So that saved your life.
Yeah, Specsavers saved my life, mate. Yeah.
Mate, clip this. Fucking get us a sponsorship deal on Specsavers, mate. Like, this is a clip. So that's so interesting. So you've had this like brush with death. How old were you then?
23.
23.
Yeah.
And then you come out so you come out of that, right? But just to take a little step back, you know that you said that you had a couple of instances where you didn't want to be here. Did you actually attempt to, or was it just thoughts?
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, I did.
I don't know if you want to talk about it. You don't have to, because I know you've got kids,
yeah,
right?
I don't like going into it too much.
But they were rock bottoms for you.
Yeah.
And were your parents involved in those situations?
Yeah, my mum's seen me in some bad ways.
Okay.
And my dad. To be fair, my dad, I know it's bad that he was going to my mum. He was like, we need to get him help. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help him, because I used to sit there like I was in the trenches with it, mate. Just like what's going on? I need to help me. Like, what's going on in my head? I don't know what's happening. And he was like, "Shall I break his arm? Because then he'll get in hospital." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh wow.
And she was like, "No, we'll get him help. We'll get him help." But you know,
your stepdad's a bit tapped in the head, mate.
Yeah.
But at least he was thinking outside of the box. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll get him in hospital. He'll get seen, but I've got to snap your arm, son. Do you know what I mean? But no,
come from a good place.
Yeah. But the only reason why I ask, and it's not to dig up horror stories. The only reason why I ask that is because I'm trying to get a gauge of the family unit when you come out of this situation. So you've had that near-death experience. You're coming out. Your parents are worried about you because of everything that's gone on. They're quite in tune with your mental health struggles and everything.
Yeah.
What happened after that? The drinking and drugs continue?
Mate, I just had the rock. But all of this has happened. Like, all this stuff's going on. My dad, uni, fucking nearly dying. Obviously, stuff with sort of my ex-missus and that. And
was you still with your ex-missus when the head happened?
No. So
because of obviously whatever was going on in your life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you broke up, but you got the boy there.
Yeah.
But you're struggling with bits and bobs with that.
Yeah. And I wasn't making any effort to step back and be like, come on, mate, have a look at the last few years, what you've gone through, what you've had to deal with. Maybe just calm down a bit. But I was just like, do you know what? This is my opportunity just to have it. Like, literally the wrong mindset to have. I was like,
yeah, I survived.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm meant to sesh.
Yeah.
You fucking dick, innit? We're such twats, aren't we? But do you know what? I can relate. I can relate to that. You're like, God kept me here for a reason.
Yeah.
The sesh.
But
you're coming out and like maybe you had that like a weird new lease of life where you thought maybe I'll be all right.
Yeah. And I just, mate, it didn't get any better. I was just like going out, getting on it. Yeah. It was mental, mate. Like, I just used to go out raving, knocking about with my pals and that. But I was still, that darkness was still there.
Yeah.
Like, in my head, I wasn't fully sort of understanding it. I didn't like it. It scared me. I didn't want to fucking take any ownership of it. I just wanted to just carry on living my life. You know, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out my own way. That bullshit attitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, knocking about with people that, you know, I just wanted to be one of the lads. It's all good doing that, but when you don't sort of come to terms with everything you've been through, you know, it's never going to end well. It's never going to end well. And obviously the drinking. I mean, the drug taking tailed off a little bit as I got older, sort of in my mid-20s. But the drinking sort of crept up on me because that was all the only way I knew how to sort of cope. I was holding down work and that I got a good job and had opportunities, but it just sort of, all the time I was working and sort of trying to progress in my career, I was busy. My mind was active. I wasn't thinking about what was going on. But as soon as I got home, it was like, right, okay, what the fuck's going on here? Let's have a drink and I don't have to worry about it. Do you know what I mean? And obviously that's how I learned to cope, sort of till the age of 30-odd, 31, 32, when I stopped drinking. But obviously there's factors that happened there that actually made me go, whoa, hang on a minute, mate. Let's have a step back, look at you, what you're doing.
What were they?
Obviously I had a sort of I was always trying to have relationships with sort of girls. I was in multiple relationships, and I wasn't very nice to those people. They showed me kindness, and I was I didn't want to be left on my own.
Selfish.
Yeah. And you know, I was still drinking, but obviously with everything that happened in my head when I was drinking, there was a bit of aggression there. It was different to how I used to be before when I used to drink. I was never like an angry drunk. I never used to fight or anything like that. Well, as you can tell, I was always just having a laugh, but I sort of got a little bit aggressive and nasty and spiteful sometimes when I had a little bit too much to drink, and I was like, "This ain't you, bruv. Like, do you know what I mean? This isn't right. This isn't you." And I had to go through some tough sort of breakups, and I had to really take stock of everything that was going on, because obviously I had my eldest in my life. How grateful I am to have him. Do you know what I mean? Because he might have not ever seen me again. Do you know what I mean? And he was only 23, so he would have been 2. He wouldn't know if that had been it after that operation. He wouldn't have known who I was. And it was little things that kept creeping in. And one of the main, obviously I mentioned sort of a little bit before we come in here, I was quite close with my uncle, my stepdad's brother, and he was a big drinker, and he passed away it was 2020, January 2020, he passed away at the age of 50, and that was down to drinking. And that hit me. That stuck with me, because a lot of the memories I've got as a kid with my auntie and uncle, like wrestling and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like it just used to be, he was the fun uncle and the fun auntie. Do you know what I mean? And I saw him two weeks before he passed away, and mate, it's horrific. It's the only thing the amount of booze, what it done to him. It was sad. And the week before, I was like, I rang my dad. I said, I'll be up the hospital. He was like, don't come. He said, don't come up here, mate. He just remember how he was last week, because he's not the same anymore. Like, he doesn't look the same. He looked awful the week before, and he was like, look, trust me, just remember him with what you've got, because he knew his time was up, because it's just a slow. You know, you drink that much and your body breaks down and your liver breaks down, and you're just waiting for the clock to end. You know what I mean?
That had a heavy effect on you. It
made me massively look at my drinking and the way I was living my life. And like I said, because he suffered with mental health. I think he went into rehab a couple of times. But where I was in that mindset of I was just getting on it, and you know, I remember he rang me at work once. Now I haven't spoken about this properly before, but he just wanted to chat. He'd obviously been drinking, but he just wanted to chat because he knew I'd had my struggles, and I was chatting with him, and he was like, it's so hard, you know, to deal with stuff, and I was like, yeah, but I wasn't really like everything I know now. If I knew it back then, I always think, could I have handled it differently? Could I have had a different conversation? Could things have been different? Now I know, look, I can't change anything that's happened in the past. But what I do now, potentially change the situation in the future, which is why, obviously, I'm sitting here with you and talking about it. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, obviously losing him, mate, it stung a lot. And I miss him every day. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've no doubt that he's probably watching, and he's like, yeah, you're doing all right, John. Do you know what I mean? So... Man. But yeah,
that's heavy. And then how soon after that, him passing, did you make the decision to go sober?
I think it's still 3 years after that. 3 years, because obviously we had COVID and everything between then. I'm with my my partner, but it quietened down a bit when I got with my partner now, Jem. And I've always said quite openly, if it wasn't for Jem, I probably wouldn't be here. I think she was the reason for me, as well as obviously my kids, to keep going and think that actually you do deserve to be here, mate. You've got, you know, don't ever think that people love you and care about you. And I started to change the way I was thinking about things, because I was in my hometown. I was like, all I'm doing is doing the same things, hanging around with the same sort of people. I'm getting in the same situations. How do I get around that? Because it's the same outcome. So I sort of, I moved in with my other half, like in a different town, started building a life, and she knew there was something slightly off with me because of the rate that I was drinking still, because it was still, I just love the beer. Do you know what I mean? That was me. That was who I am now. Like, I work hard in the week, beers after work, gets to the weekend, game on. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was how I was. I was like, right, fucking get to about lunchtime on Saturday and I could just crack on. Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't even a social thing anymore. It was just, that's what I did. Like, I drank beer, and it's quite depressing really, because I just isolated myself. I didn't used to go out as much and do it. I used to just sit in front of the telly, because it just used to quieten my mind, because there was so much going on. It was the only way I knew how to cope, and I'd just be on a level. But yeah, obviously with Jem, we got our house and everything else, and then COVID crept in, and I was still working. So all I was doing was getting up, getting in the car, going to work, coming back. You couldn't do anything else. But my drinking ramped right up. Like, I was drinking a lot. I remember I was alternating the shops that I went into next to each other. I was like, fucking, I went in there yesterday to get a crate. I can't do that again. They'll be like, fucking hell, where's he putting these cans? Do you know what I mean? So, that's when it started to click for me. I was just like, something's not right here. This isn't healthy, what I'm doing. And obviously everything that happened with my uncle, I'm lucky to have my missus. I mean, she didn't leave me. How she hasn't, I have no idea, because my drinking was out of order at times, you know what I mean? But she stuck with me, and I thought, there's got to be a way out of this. Like, maybe I'm just one of those people that can't drink. It's not for me. Or maybe I'm one of those people that's done all my drinking. That's how I like to think of it. And I've taken the piss too early, and now it's time to call it a day. Yeah,
I like that.
You know, I think I picked up a book in Waterstones. I was in Blue Water or something, and it was about the joy of being sober. And there was things in there. I was like, it's like reading a diary. Like, there's certain people that act like I do, or have the same emotions, or drink for the same reasons I do. Because I used to find any reason to drink. It was just like, well, I've just got in from work, I'll have a drink. I've had a bad day, I'll have a drink. I've had a good day, I'll have a drink. Do you know what I mean? It was I was just making excuses all the time just to have a drink. And the people that were suffering were my family, because I wasn't fully present. Like, I wasn't fully present with my kids. You know, I wouldn't say I was a bad dad or anything, but you know, I could have been better. You know, they don't want you sitting there on the sofa just, yeah, I'll do that in a minute. Or, you know, Dad, come and play. Do you know what I mean? Or come and play football. And I was just so dialed out.
Yeah.
It just, I was like, I've got to make the change. I've got to make the change. And learning but everything that I'd experienced up to that point, I was like, right, okay, let's see what we can do. And it was just slowly stopped. I'd do like a week, and then I'd go back to it. And then I'd do like a 3-month stint where I didn't drink anything. And then I go back to it. And then I think right before I stopped, I think it was like 4 months, maybe. And then I drank like every single day for 2 months. And I felt like fucking shit, mate. Like, I literally felt ill. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. It ain't fair on Jem. It's not fair on the kids. I've got to do this. Not just for me. I've got to do it for them. And yeah, I set up my Instagram 1st of January 2023, and I was just like, right, I'm going to go for it. And it was tough, but yeah, just over 3 years sober now, mate. And
wow.
Yeah, here we are.
That's brilliant, man. First of all, fucking, I love that. It's tough, but fucking so similar to so many lads out there, especially, I think, but so similar to, I can relate to so much of it. Just it being shit and still doing it. You know, moments of fun, but majority of it was with bad consequences.
Yeah.
A missus that is struggling to find reasons why to stick around. Do you know what I mean? Like, hit home what you said about the kids, mate. You know, let's be real. Like, hungover dad ain't a fucking no good to no one.
Yeah.
You know
exactly
what I mean?
that.
You're there, but you're not there, are you?
I wasn't. I was just sort of existing. That's the only way I was existing. I wasn't living life. I was just existing. I was just floating through it. And it's like, what? Like, you know, my kids are looking at me. Mate, it's mad. It's mad.
And that's a real. That it's about the same sort of time that I would have gone online and said, about 3 years ago. Well, I don't know what I am now. Do you count the days?
Yeah,
I've got it somewhere there, but I haven't looked at it in ages actually. But about that same sort of time, did you follow me back then?
Yeah, I did. To be fair, like that's why it's mad that obviously it's a journey really that it's taken me on, because you was sort of one of the main inspirations for me of the Minister Sobriety like podcast, listening to you about I don't want to drink, and I was following people, like day-to-day people, like people that I could relate to that wanted to make that positive change, like obviously Kirk, Chazza, James English. I was listening to the podcast and I was like, look, I want to be like that. They've got the right mindset. This is what I need to dial into, these people. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, we're here today having a chat about it. So, yeah.
What do you think it is, man? Like, I'm trying to, first of all, I'm glad that the podcast may have helped along the way. I was just trying to learn about it sort of myself. But I think that there's a common theme that runs through me, through you, through a lot of people. And I think it's some sort of situation or trauma that they grew up with or around, that makes them feel uncomfortable with their own thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, if I could sum it up, it's some sort of traumatic experience. Like, for me, it was my mum and dad's divorce, maybe seeing stuff in the home that was uncomfortable to see, being around violence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Going through something as a child that made you feel uncomfortable with your own emotions, or unable to cope with your own emotions or deal with or analyze or work out. And later on in life, finding alcohol helps that. And I believe that it's as simple as that. Men not having the tools to deal with negative thoughts, like how you put it, negative thoughts and about themselves, about their life. Alcohol becoming the answer to the problem. Drugs becoming the answer to the problem. That escapism then being the only light in their life and everything else becoming dull. Yeah. And this is the big bit, I think, and then your life falling apart around you, filling you with shame and guilt. Yeah. You know, all the fuck ups that you're making, filling you with shame and guilt. I'm not a man, I'm not the person I was supposed to be. Just perpetuates it until you're just like, I can't handle this.
Well, I know from what I've learned, I know sort of depression and that mental health is something I'm always going to have to live with. Mm-hmm. Even though I don't drink, you know, I don't take drugs or anything like that, but I've learned how to deal with it. I know how to cope with it. Sometimes if I've got to take a step back and spend some time on my own just to sort of reset, I'll do that. I've got really good pals. I haven't got lots of pals. I had lots of acquaintances in that sort of back in the day, do you know what I mean? But now I've got a handful of mates that I can say. Even the other day I messaged my pals like, mate, I'm struggling today, man. Like, I don't know what it is. I've just got, and it's like, it'll ring me straight back. Do you know, it'll ring me. It's like, what's up? Let's chat. Do you know what I mean? To have people like that around you is important, I think.
I think that you've got to create people like that around you. You know, like a lot of lads will be listening or watching this. I always say lads, but people, right? You may have people around you that are friends and you feel like you can't reach out and say that to them, but if you have to start that conversation, you have to say, you know, like you said, look, I'm just not, you'd probably be surprised if you to your friends that you think aren't interested in that, you'd probably be quite surprised if you said, I'm fucking struggling today. Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised with someone's response. You know, if you haven't said that to your friend, because I know if any one of my friends said that, I'd go, right, let's try and get into it. Yeah, right? You know, what is it? People actually feel quite good if you put it on them like that. It makes them feel wanted. Yeah. You know, so don't be afraid to do that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's I've got my pals that I can do that with, you know, now. And likewise, they'll do the same to me. Like, I'd rather I took 5-10 minutes out of my day to speak to someone about it, so they didn't go home beating themselves up like I used to. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
When you said that you, I can relate to. Sometimes I think I'm fucking bipolar because I'm like so happy some days, and some days I just really struggle to even get there, or I'm just pissed off or whatever. I really, really try to practice like fucking. What's the word? Like, I really try to not it is gratitude, but what I really try to do is go, whoa, like you're gonna want to live these years again.
Yeah.
The kids are young. You're gonna want to do this again. Don't get too stressed. Just calm down.
Yeah.
I had an instant the other morning with Neve when she was, and I fucking feel so guilty when she was asking me to put the scooters in the car, and I was trying to get Sage in, and Sage is my third daughter, and she's just like a fucking maniac. Something's weird with her. She's like a devil. She's just like, honestly, she's just like, she's like a gremlin, mate. She's like, I don't know what happened to this one, but this one's fucking, she's just like, it's like she's come out and gone, looked at the whole family and gone, yeah, fuck this, mate. I'm just fucking this whole thing up. Everyone's fairly organised and like got their head together, and she's just smashing the gaff up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I was trying to get her in the car seat, and she's screaming and wailing and like doing that thing where they bend their body so you can't put the straps on them, and she's like, and I'm like trying to be the best version of myself. Okay, come on, let's do it. And at the same time, Neve saying, can we take our scooters? I'm doing a school run, right? Can we take our scooters? Can you put the scooters in the car? Can we take our scooters? Blah, blah, blah. And then I just snapped. I was like, just get in the car.
Yeah.
And then everyone went quiet. She got in, and Neve's like 9 now. So she's like Shelley, like she knows how to properly make me feel bad. So the face come on, and she just sat there. And then I'm like, oh, look, I'm really sorry for shouting. And she's like, and I'm like, no, come on, man. Like, we get to school and I'm walking. I was like, look, it's really not nice for people to go about their day if they've fallen out. It's better that they make up. I'm trying to get this back from her now because I feel terrible. And then she gave me a cuddle and a kiss. And I said, look, and I got 2 phones at the moment. And I waited for Rue to go in. But I went, look, and showed her both my phones. And I've got a screensaver of her on both of them. I change them all the time. But that day I managed to have them both. I go, look, I've got you on both of my phones. I'm not saying you're my favourite, but I love you loads and all this, like trying to win back round. And she laughed and she gave me a kiss and she went in. But I was riddled with guilt, like for losing my rag that time. Like I was thinking about it all day.
Yeah.
And it just made me think. I felt so uncomfortable with that feeling, but I analysed the feeling. I could feel it there. I like dissected it in my mind. I spot, okay, look, you're only human. Yeah. You're very stressed. Look, listen, all the other, and I was going through this whole thing in my head. Like, this is what I have now. Like, so like the reason why I'm saying this is you said at times you take yourself, you'll need a bit of you time. Yeah. You'll take yourself away. This is really important for men because, we watch these podcasts or you're looking at what's going on in your life, right? And people doing these podcasts and talking, you're like, well, give us something. Like, what can I fucking do? Help me. Like, give me some advice. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And for me, it's analysing it. Like, stop, think about what the negative thought is. What is the emotion? Label it. Like, so that was guilt. I felt really guilty. Yeah. Like, sometimes I feel angry. Sometimes I feel shame. Sometimes I'm jealous. Sometimes inadequate. Whatever. Just try and put a label on it. So first of all, yeah, you felt really guilty. Why? Because you snapped. Why do you feel guilty about that? Because you love her and you've made her feel sad, right? And you're her dad. You don't want to give her them memories. And then I try and break it down a little bit more. What? Other dads don't do that? Of course they do. Like, it's impossible to fucking hold your shit together with 4 kids all the time, as long as you make amends. And then when I got home that night, she ran straight over to me because I was late because I'd gone into London and I got back, and she ran and gave me a big cuddle. She said, I'm so sorry for making you feel a bit sad earlier, but you was a little bit silly, you lost your temper. And I was like, yeah. And it was all right. But I think that's really important, trying to label what it is. But what do you do when you take yourself away? That's what I wanted to finish the podcast on. What advice or tools could you give to any lads out there, and to all women as well, to put in their toolbox?
It's the self-awareness that's the biggest thing that sobriety has given me back, really, is knowing I get all these feelings, like you were saying, like with the kids and that. Sometimes I'm like, do you know what I mean? Like, give us a break. But reflecting and being like, mate, what are you worried about? Do you know what I mean? This is like, it's fine. It's just, mate, it's just the reflecting. I take myself away sometimes because I need that time in my head, because I get overwhelmed quite easily. If there's a lot of stuff going on, places are busy, I'll get quite overwhelmed. So I have to sort of take myself to put my headphones in or something like that and just be like, right, let me just think about this for a minute, and then I'll come back to it. And then I'll, like my missus, like I'll just say, like, I struggled with this today, and shit. Like just being able to get it off your chest, I think, is really important. That's probably the biggest thing I'd say is it's just being open about it, because I wasn't open about anything that was going on in my head through my late teens, through my 20s and into my early 30s, and it nearly wrote me off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just just letting that go, just being aware of it and being open about it.
Yeah, I think before we go, I think like a big part of your story, and I found it really interesting, by the way, especially the bit where your head just got cut open. It's fucking mental, mate.
Different, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's like in the middle of all this, you're like, fucking right. So what? You're doing what? Do you know what I mean? Like, we got a lot to deal with right now. But I love that the fact that you're halfway through, like, dealing with addiction. You're like, I'm just going to go get punched in the head today. So, but not taking the piss, but it is crazy. But makes a really interesting story, which now on here would help people. But I think a big part of that, what I wanted to just finish on, at the time you were dealing with, and this is very poignant for anyone that's listening, right? Because I want anyone that's listening or watching this to reequate this into their own lives, right? There was a point where you were sort of pushing down your feelings of rejection from your father. You were battling with drink and drugs. You obviously had this awkward moment at uni, or these things popping up with your behaviour that were fucking kicking you in the bollocks. You're like, I can't really deal with this. You're dealing with a breakup of the mother of your child, so breakup of the family unit, all of those emotions to dealing with not seeing your child. But at no point in the midst of that, or it took a long time for you to go, there's a lot going on, I need to look after myself. Like, I actually, there is a reason. There's actually a reason why I'm fucking falling apart. Because what we do is we just go, oh, that was fucking tough. Oh, that was tough. That was tough. But we're cracking on. The viewers and the listeners out there would do well to have a little look at what the fuck has been hitting them, and then reevaluate how to deal with it. Did you do counselling?
I did a bit, yeah, mate. That was tough. I mean, I've got no shame in saying that I sat and cried after a couple of sessions, because I never really looked back, because I was just like, it's just what happens as a kid. Like, you know, these things happen. But when you go back and, for example, if I look at Freddie, who's my 4-year-old, if he went through what I did, mate, that breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck.
But you don't feel that pain for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't feel that pain for yourself as a child.
Yeah.
Know?
But and then when I look at myself as that kid, and it's like,
that's hard.
Yeah, but you have to do that. You have to do that to be able to
understand
and get better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's uncomfortable. It really is uncomfortable, and I've had to fucking deal with some uncomfortable things, uncomfortable conversations. But at the end of it, mate, I feel like I'm a much better human being for it. So.
Yeah. Well, listen, us men, we're logical, right?
Yeah.
Like we're very, like, I don't want to say women are emotional, because I'll get in shit for that, but but they are fucking emotional. No, but women deal with emotion stuff much better than men. We're logical. You're like, there's a problem. You know, again, I'm not saying women are not logical, but we're more logical. I mean, there's a scale. Let's move on. But what I mean is fucking let us know what the problem is, and we can fix it, right? Yeah. So this is my advice to men always, and this is why my charity, Men and Their Emotions, raises money and puts it into getting counselling for lads, right? Is because once once someone sits in front of you and goes, oh yeah, so your dad, like, not wanting to be part of your life, and at key stages in your development as a child, you reaching out, and like that is going to make you feel like this, right? And then you're not going to want to do this, and if you don't work on those feelings, they're going to grow into this, and then Like they could literally open a textbook and go, and then you're going to lean into negative ways of dealing and coping. You're going to self-medicate for those feelings. It's like fucking science, right?
Yeah.
So as a man, if you suddenly go, oh right, I just thought I was a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Oh right, I just thought I was being a twat. Do you know what I mean? I just thought I was fucked. Oh right. So you mean there's a reason for this? That's the beginning of your healing journey, man. Then you're like, oh, right, okay. So that shit happened, which made me feel like this, and that's why I done that. Oh, right. It's not just my personality. I'm not just a fucking dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that can be the beginning of your healing journey. But mate, I've really enjoyed talking to you, man.
Yeah, it's been good. Been good.
I think like we like if we had met like when we were younger. Yeah, because I can tell you're a bit of a knobhead as well. Like you were laughing at all the wrong bits. Do you know what I mean? You're like telling me, you're like, you know. So I know that we got a very similar sense of humour. But I've had a lot of guests on here that you know, that with, you know, millions of followers and status and and I've sat there before going, yeah, I get it, but you know, what have you got to share for our audience that they can take from it? And you had a brilliant way of articulating that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, mate. No.
And I wish you all the best, man. And yeah, like I've got a little boy, so hearing you talk about your son being like one of your best mates, like, I'm looking forward to all of that stuff. And we're rewriting the history for our kids, man. Exactly, so I'm proud of you for that, my man.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Anything you want to leave with, anywhere they can find you, or anything you just want to drop or say or promote or anything at all?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if anyone wants to sort of follow my journey, I'm not on it all the time. I just sort of drop posts in there about things that I've done through sobriety and things that, like tools that I use that help me that might be able to help you. It's the _sober _Jono _journal. So the sober Jono journal, which I've done since I stopped drinking. And yeah, if you want to follow, give us a follow. So
I love that, mate. I love that. All right, thank you, my brother. And I think we'll stay in touch, man. We got a charity football game that I'd love to invite you, not to play, because I
won't be jumping up for headers, mate.
Yeah, no headers. But we do have a Muay Thai competition that you can join in.
Yeah, sign me up, yeah.
But I'd love for you to come along as my guest for that, mate. And you can, cheer the teams on and all that jazz.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
my
Cheers,
brother.
Dan.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. That was one of my favourite podcasts, man. Like, I'm really enjoying these sort of unfiltered, easy conversations. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, comment, and share. If you share this to your social media platforms, like even if you've got 10 people that fucking follow you or are your friends, one of them may be struggling with similar stuff that's in this podcast. So please share it out there. We do have a massive charity football match for my charity, Men and Their Emotions. All the money is getting raised for suicide prevention. So, you know, it's in the name of a gentleman called Stephen Bailey that unfortunately took his own life, left a beautiful wife and daughter behind. So we're taking over Swindon Town Football Club. We've got the likes of Ollie Murs, Danny Dyer, loads of ex-pro footballers, Razor Ruddock, fucking Jamie O'Hara, Danny Simpson, like loads. We've already raised £30,000 in ticket sales for the football. So I'd love for some of the supporters of this podcast to get on. Just DM me on my Instagram or search for it, Swindon Town Football Club, Men and Their Emotions. Thank you, my man. And I will. I'll keep in touch with you. Give John, not Johnny. John ___. Make sure we put his Instagram in here, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks.
Let's have it!
It was amazing!
Absolute class.
You're his man. Oh, fucking hell. I've had my mental health journeys.
I love you because of it.
Oh, thank you very much, my friend. I love you too.
Best comedian going, love him to bits.
How long have you been together? 8 years! And you're still holding hands. Grow up, man.
The show was absolutely hilarious.
Being uncancelled, like 10 years, and getting sober, and then getting here. So, I just want to say thank you. My brand new 60-date 2026 UK tour is already over 70% sold out. Get your tickets to your local show quick, sharpish, while you still can.